this is a big weekend. We've got the Hit Your Target Christmas special, which has been a lot of fun to prepare for as well. For my main account, I'm kind of not totally prioritizing it, but I'm certainly with some of the missing pieces in France and one or two other places, like it makes maybe a bit more sense for me. Listen, let's go and try and get a wee cheeky £100 gift card, as it were, for Christmas, and see if over the festive we can maybe snipe ourselves a bit of a bargain. But
100%.
otherwise, it's kind of as you were. A lot of regions are kind of wrapping up now. There's a lot of really important matches at this time of year, even though the fixture might not look that great, like it's a top v bottom or something. But this is a time of year where points are valuable. Teams want to go on runs. They want to like bookmark the end of the first half of the season, in good fashion and whatever. And we flip the page up. It is top end teams in local divisions, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. I mean, I'm like building lineup yesterday. I realized how many like players and I don't know regions and leagues that I was kind of missing. But it also felt really like compact, if that makes sense. Like there was no fluff. There was no sort of loose ends that I had to like just look at. Like even though I'd like League One to be here because that's where most of my in-season champ stuff is. Like just as far as like how the matchups go and who is playing right now league wise, like it's quite yeah, it's quite just condensed. And I didn't really mind that, to be honest. It's less things to worry about in general. Obviously, if you're playing the region specific, like, Bundesliga is the same. Same for Prem. Obviously, no League One for Champ. But yeah, as far as like Challenger and stuff goes, I guess there is quite a few, big matchups showing up here, but not as much as we normally see, Quinny. Okay, the top two, but Leeds don't have in-season cards. You've got Sporting down there who have been woeful away from home. Gala have been really good, to be fair, but still conceding goals. Like Chal looks, I know we haven't scrolled down yet, but nothing like outside of Benfica there, nothing's jumping out at me for Challenger. You've obviously got quite a few champ boys in there with Bayern, Atalanta, Madrid, of course, traveling back from, was it Doha or wherever they played? They played
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely
Qatar.
Middle East.
Yeah, I recognize the stadium, but I didn't watch the game. But yeah, Leverkusen at home. There's quite a few punchy ones in there, but nothing like there's only 3 above 80. Like there's
Yeah.
not normally we see a lot more dark greens there, and then like without sort of jumping ahead, like 60 finishes quite quickly. Like there's just
Yeah.
not that many games going on.
That's right. It's very open. It's not very long at all, is it, in terms of the key
No,
matchups? Porto, Middlesbrough, Riker kind of catch my eye ever so slightly just because of some of the cards I've kind of seen on lineup building and stuff. I quite like the Fulham game when I was looking through the Premier League this weekend. Like Fulham have got nice cards, and at home at Southampton, who are between managers, they've also appointed Juric today. And I don't know if he's seen this, right? Some of the Sorare scouts and managers maybe know Ivan Juric more than the average football fan on the street, as it were. I thought the Torino team was pretty mince. I think that's going to end up pretty. I don't think it's going to end up doing pretty well. But it's funny how like football Twitter is just like, honestly, see if you follow any like Twitter football account, like a journalist or whatever, they're all just saying the same shit. Like he does the best with like not a lot, and he's a madman, and he fights the guy in the car park, and blah blah blah. And it's like Jesus, man. Like everyone is just like read one article, haven't they? And they're all just regurgitating it. The Verona team, but was like quite exciting. That was when I had some Verona cards. That's when Caprari and like Simeone and some of these guys were like doing really well when Verona were hot
Barak.
for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So he does have a wee bit of that in him, but the Torino team were fucking rank. You know what I mean? And then the Roma job, like obviously that's a car crash from start to finish because of De Rossi and everything. But yeah. Anyway, Southampton away to Fulham feels like a good one for Fulham.
Yeah, definitely. Prem in general seems a bit light, doesn't it? Really, like
Yeah.
nothing vacating the top 12 or so or whatever until we get to Fulham, and then you've got a bit of Arsenal away to Palace, who played each other midweek. I know there was rotations and whatever, and then yeah, we get to Chelsea, another away game. So Prem feels rather open. Not to say Chelsea can't go do the business, and Arsenal couldn't either, but like yeah, Prem just from probability wise, win probabilities are just very low, and the best ones are basically all away apart from the Fulham one. So it's getting the Fulham team right, isn't it? Like it is, you have to contend with that. Who actually pops off? There's obviously a few obvious on paper candidates, but sometimes Quinny, those are the ones that for whatever reason just don't come up trumps for you, and it'll be like Castagna is going to score 100 and Robertson gets a red card or so. Like that's just sometimes how it the cookie crumbles.
The thing that excites me about a Fulham stack this week is Leno, because Leno is an AA
Mm,
keeper, and Southampton, like they're not going to not shoot, they're not going to not have a chance or two. Fulham will probably open the door up for them once or twice in this one, but it's feasibly a clean sheet game. And for a keeper that gets him AA, that's like peak potential, and if you get
yeah,
peak potential in goals, then like you say, if you can get that outfield combo, then no one's going to stop you.
not really. Like if you're full stack in Fulham, yeah, it's got to be Leno, Robinson, sorry, and then yeah, pick your poison between like Berg, Emil Smith Rowe, Harry Wilson. Obviously, I'm going to be biased, and then it will be as a forward card, which is quite nice. You'd probably go for that with the AA capabilities over Jimenez. So it's quite nice. There's quite a few different variations. Like you might not see the exact same five with them if you were to stack them. Um, and yeah, and there'll be people who just go Robertson, Leno. Like there'll be loads of different variations of it because there is some amazing forward options in the Prem in just general outside of Fulham.
And this is how Southampton are expected to line up. Ivan Juric does play like 3-5-2, 3-4-3. So I don't know if this is his influence potentially on the lineup, or the interim manager not too up on it, as it were, on that front. But this is how they look to go anyway. And like firepower, I'm sure they're going to try and attack and stuff like that. But I think Fulham could be, I think they could win every department in this one. They could score, they could keep the clean sheet, they could have some good AA around there as well. The top team in the Premier, the top game in the Premier League list we've got here is a big one. It's Aston Villa at home to Man City, and this is the first game of the game week. In fact, it's early kickoff tomorrow, and this is like both teams need these points. These points are extra. I don't want to use the cliche 6-pointer, right? But beating Man City, beating Aston Villa is a high value win for Pep and for Unai Emery at this current point in the season. So this one is really hard to call. We really both teams like could do anything in a game like this. Aston Villa team looks pretty strong. How are you feeling about this one? City on the ropes. Ruben Diaz confirmed out for like 5 weeks.
Yeah, I did see that earlier. Yeah, mate, it's fucking yeah, it's now or never for City, isn't it? Like they can't just keep losing games of football. Like it's just not on. Do I do I see him getting a result away to Villa? I don't, mate. Like I genuinely don't. I don't know if I can confidently say that the City go get a result here, despite De Bruyne is now fit and they've kind of got everyone they want to choose from like an attacking perspective, maybe. I just don't know what it is, mate. It's a weird game, football. Like one's confidence is low and like momentum swings and the pendulum swings the wrong way. It's very hard. It's an uphill battle to kind of get it going the other way and the positive way. And I don't think they do it, mate. I think Villa beat them.
I think Villa could keep like less goals out than Man City in this one. Looking at the
Yeah,
defense, Stones and Akanji in the middle there, and you know how free Lewis and Guardiola are going to be. Rogers, Morgan, McGinn, Bailey, that kind of front four, the way they kind of counter press and stuff like that. I could see them getting some chances in this one. And with Ortega Moreno, I know he's got a good reputation. He's favoured to start this one. Villa will definitely look at this game like they can score some goals. And I would be as confident the City could keep up with them in a fist fight in that way, like with Big Emmy in
yeah,
between the sticks. And their defence is just a bit more no nonsense and actually defensive. Never mind having the likes of Tielemans and wee boobs in there as well. So should be exciting. Don't get me wrong, but I'm with
yeah.
you. Like I struggle to see City getting the win on this one on paper.
It's gonna take some sort of miracle, like from a De Bruyne or whoever. Haaland turns up and scores three out of nowhere. Like something out of the ordinary has to happen because City right now they're just not flowing. They're not in that sort of flow state. I think Pep's mentioned some other adjective to describe it, but it's just yeah, he said they're just not playing with the same, whatever, insert footballing adjective that they were before. And you just can't you can't just manufacture it overnight again, like it just comes and it flows in nicely and the momentum sort of comes with it. Like I said, I really think it's going to take something really, really out of the ordinary to break the curse, let's say.
Yeah. The next game I've got up here is Brentford Forest, two teams that have been hard to get the measure of this year consistently.
Mm.
Forest for the better, maybe Brentford somewhere in the middle. Big Chris Ayers back in town. That's good for me to see. Front three is as strong as it comes as well for Brentford. And the Nottingham Forest team, again, looks pretty much as strong as you would want it. All the key players are in the key positions. And yeah, that's full
Yeah.
strength for me, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen Yates might be a bit like, yeah, obviously he's at 60, which makes sense. He's a bit questionable. But yeah, outside of that, I think everything else fits in quite nicely. I watched them play. Who did they beat last week, Quinny? I watched the game, and they beat somebody at home. Villa. It might have been Villa. Yeah, it was.
I was
It
going to say
was
Villa.
Villa. Emmy threw one into his own net, didn't he? Kind of. It
Yeah,
was unlucky, but it was like a power header, wasn't it? Really close to him. But mate, like Forest are unbelievable. Like they're a very good football team right now. And again, like going back to the confidence stuff, like they're just flying. Like
yeah, top.
all of them. Like even like Nico playing left back, he was unbelievable. Ole Aina was incredible. Never mind, Gibbs White and Chris Wood linking up. Elliot Anderson, by the way, man, I'm telling you, he is worth every penny of that inflated, homegrown
Yeah,
30 million that they paid. He is unbelievable. Like actually insane. Like he has everything. I'm
he works up
honestly
there, doesn't
like,
he?
yeah, like he reminds me. He's not as explosive as like De Bruyne, like when De Bruyne had that like gallop in him back in the day. But the way he moves is like so similar, and he doesn't really have that like final ball that maybe De Bruyne has to that degree yet. But mate, I'm telling you, there's a serious player in there, and next to like a Gibbs White, like it's an exciting team. Like there's no wonder why these are like top 4 or 5, like genuinely.
Yeah, it's good seeing like those players kind of coming together and kicking ass as it were. And I thought Ellie Anderson, I've not seen him really much for beyond the highlights that you see going everywhere once he does stuff for Forest, but I've seen a fair bit of him at Newcastle last year, and I thought like he was definitely somebody that could have started for Newcastle. Like he clearly showed the ability there, and like you say, the whole transfer horse trade and stuff. We've seen this. He finds himself now at Forest all of a sudden, and it's definitely Forest's win as a result. So this will be a tough game to call. I don't know if you can stack right into it or not, but Forest have definitely got high scoring players, and it's a match that they probably won't be too scared of.
Yeah. I think it'll be a score draw of some sort, or maybe Forest nick it, but it's very hard to say, isn't it? I don't know if I'd be taking Brentford defenders.
Brentford at home are hot to trot.
Hmm. No, I get it. I
Jordi
get
Maradona. Love that.
it.
Elliot Anderson. Apparently he's Scottish. I don't know if he's a Geordie or not. I'm only joking. But next up, we've got Ipswich at home to the Geordies. This is the Ipswich team on screen here. And we finally got all their pictures on the page now,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
cool. No more wee grey faces for them. They've become fully fledged Premier League licensed cards now. It's buzzing for them. And this is the Newcastle team. Newcastle did very well last week. Charlie Dunbar reigning high. We did the reward opening on Tuesday night. It was great to see. And it's I think it's the same team as last week, if memory serves me right. But Newcastle kind of getting out of their kind of bad period. It feels like maybe they're kind of climbing an ascendancy, and away to Ipswich. It could be another good Newcastle week.
Yeah, this is like the attacking stack, I think, of dreams. Maybe even defensively as well. Like, no disrespect to Ipswich, they have scored goals at home. They're not really being that potent, but yeah, I don't know whether I'd be back in the Newcastle clean
No
sheet
doubt.
necessarily. Yeah, like they do have a bit of firepower. The big downside to them is though they are missing the lap. That's the big one. No Delap, and then yeah, Charlie says Julian suspended, but Willett coming in is not a bad replacement. But Tonali's looking good. I think he scored a couple midweek in the cup. Like yeah, things are starting to click a little bit, aren't they, for Newcastle? They've been waiting for this moment, and it might have come five or so games too late, or later than they'd like to have happened. But yeah, there's something brewing. Like I'm not surprised if Isak just goes off this week again. Like Gordon the same. Like I can just see that happening quite comfortably. Do I see the clean sheet though? I wouldn't be as confident, but it could easily happen. So tough to say.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way on that one. West Ham Brighton is another kind of little battle of the alternate stacks, as it were. And Paqueta back in the building, giving Lopetegui a bit of vote of confidence, celebrating with him and all that jazz. So maybe West Ham, similar to what you're saying about Newcastle there, they're maybe a couple of games later than they would want to, but maybe they're getting a bit of a rhythm together. Fulkrug is quoted this week as saying that like it's been a failure, his move so far. They've maybe taken this quote a little bit out of context to sensationalize the story, but he's definitely aware of it's not worked out this far. 80% on it start this game. Could be the game for Fulkrug to get the season up and running. And this is the Brighton team off the back of, some disappointing results, if memory serves me right, over the last week or two, losing to Palace and I forget what the other one was. But, a lot of 50% in this one, 60% as well. Duncan, Igor, 60-40. Veltman and Lamptey, 60-40. Adringa, Minty, 50-50. Ayari, Weaver, 50-50. And you could maybe even go to Ferguson, Router, 60-40. So, if you do have the Brighton, it's kind of hard to maybe nail in a 5.
100%.
But yeah, who knows how this one goes.
Honestly, with it being a Bart holder, I worry here. Like I just, not the West Ham are up to much right now, but at home, Brighton in the way they're sort of playing and not being able to see out games and stuff is really really poor to see. And yeah, there's a reason why they're all 50-50s and stuff, because none of them are really cementing a place really outside of João Pedro. Like I've seen a few people come out and say, I think it was Troy Deeney actually, because he played him at Watford. He just said like he's just a leader. Like for his age, I know he's a bit older now, but he said he came in and he was just an absolute like man at like 17. But he was like bossing them around as far as like captaincy and stuff goes. And like, yeah, I can see why he's probably the the only one there that's relatively nailed outside of maybe Barta Matoma. But yeah, man, it's again a similar situation to City, not not on steroids like their situation, but Brighton need points.
Yeah, big time.
They keep fumbling the bag big time.
Palace again, one of these teams maybe seem to be on the way up. A wee bit of a bounce back in recent weeks with some decent results. Quite a strong lineup here, it must be said. Nathaniel Klein coming in at right back though for Munoz. I think he's suspended. Memory serves me right. And Lerma and Hughes in the engine room in midfield here. At home to Arsenal, who they lost to in the Carabao Cup quarter-final midweek, like you mentioned, Harry. And this Arsenal team looks, except for left back, so surprised Tierney's not in the reckoning there, given all the press that's been on this week with him and all the rest of it. But there you go. Quite a strong Arsenal team, pretty much as strong as it gets outside of the left back situation, I would say. And then depends on your opinion on right backs, of course. But really strong Arsenal team, and it feels like since Odegaard's return, like we mentioned last week, like they are kind of back to being the team you would associate them to be at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they definitely feel like they're clicking back into gear, don't they? Jesus is putting pressure on Havertz though, with a hat trick midweek and stuff. I heard him come out yesterday and say that Havertz is obviously playing well. It's hard to displace him, but he's sort of really wanting to get back into that sort of starting 11. But yeah, tough to displace. Yeah, it's tough to see anything other than an Arsenal win. But we've seen Palace score a couple of goals against them, so it's not like it's not like Arsenal are completely invincible in that sense. So
yeah,
I did see he got injured, to be fair.
always the way.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that one myself. But yeah, Everton, Chelsea is the next one we've got coming up. It feels like it could be a good one for Chelsea, but the thing about this Everton team is it's like a good defensive team. And against a team that are going to put shots on goal and force them into clearances and interceptions and all that kind of thing. Like, if you've got Everton defenders or the goalkeeper, maybe even, because Pickford loves a bit of AA. Is this a bad game for Everton, SO5 wise? I don't know how bad it is.
It is if they like concede early, if that makes sense. If Chelsea somehow get a bit spawny and stuff and they score in the first 15, then I really worry. But if Everton, like we saw against Arsenal, like if they can hold on to the second half at least, there's definitely merit in seeing our Everton defenders and keepers scoring really well here. Like they have the potential upside to score really well. It's just, man, if Chelsea get in like first half, if something happens that just sort of dismantles Everton's ability to keep a clean sheet, I worry. Then I think it could be like threes. That's my worry here.
Yeah, three's the kill number, isn't it? And Cole Palmer punches and bunches, and the rest of this team is on mad fire now. So could go either way. Renato Vega starting a league match at left back was an interesting development for one of those little cheap squad players you might have picked up for midweeks. Then all of a sudden you get a wee bit of weekend utility out of him. So we interesting development there. Toasting the same, 60% he starts this one. And Neto over Madueke for the weekend, 60-40.
Yeah, Ashley Young's been great, but it'll be a tough afternoon against Sancho. Like, you'll be twisting him and turning him in all sorts of places. He won't necessarily do him for pace, but just coming inside and just being tricky. And then it's the centre back's problem, because Sancho loves coming in and sort of reigning there. So then Young's not actually marking anyone at that point, unless he follows him all the way in, which will be interesting to see if he does. He's better than
on screen there is the Leicester team. Now, Harry, I was crossing my fingers on this one for you that Danny Ward was going to get the nod, but it looks like Hermansen is back.
Well, I've seen Rude's interview. Basically, he said that like we're hopeful we can get Hermansen fit, but it's not like a given at all. He said like, he basically said the other guy who's 20% has played for the 21s midweek. Obviously not Ward. So it could be any of the three. Hey, they give it. Yeah, Sorare AFL's giving him a lot of stick here, but no one watches Wales games. So they're not going to know. But I'll be honest, he's improved in the last 6 months drastically. But I know Leicester fans have got PTSD from him, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to sit here and say he's like a complete change man. But like there is something that's changed because there is competition in that Wales number one now with Darlow. So he's had a kick up the arse. I don't know whether it comes through if he gets to play today. But yeah, Hermanson's like definitely not nailed, obviously because of the 50. So yeah, I've had to be cautious where I put my 3,000 wards this weekend.
Oh, hopefully one of them comes in. You've got some outfield starters in case it does come off. Because against Wolves again, like managers out. I don't think there's been a replacement in yet, is there?
I don't know. I
Or
saw a
the
tweet today.
Portuguese guy from Dubai.
Yeah, I can't remember. It looked like a Portuguese name or something, or Spanish maybe. I can't remember. I just saw him on the training ground. Someone will know his name in the chat, I'm sure. But
Victor Ferreira or something like that, I'm sure it was.
yeah, Ferreira, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
So this is how he looks to line up, apparently. It's kind of hard because this guy's never had a game yet for Wolves to really see what he will do. But this kind of works well for me if he wants to start Guedes and he wants to start Bueno and Cunha. I've got a wee bit of utility out of some of these guys. But that core midfield three is probably one of the things that Wolves have had like really going for them, that they've got that young, really physical, high energy midfield. And they can, like the three at the back has kind of hurt them a little bit at times. And Cunha, people still think he's a risk because of the scrumash last weekend that he grabbed some guy's glasses off his face or whatever. But as of now, like there's no word on it.
Yeah, it was something to do with they had to put the appeal in or something yesterday, and I don't know whether it comes back in time or whatever. But yeah, Charlie's saying he's improved in the last 6 months. He's not 35, he's 31. I will have to correct you on that. And how are you supposed to improve if you don't play football games,
Yeah.
So at least the only run out he gets is with Wales. But before there was nobody to like push him because he was just standard number one because Hennessy had retired. So now there's a half decent keeper sort of waiting in the wings. Hopefully realizes he can't just fucking be a second keeper all his life.
It's the job of dreams for some of us, eh?
I know. I wouldn't say no to it, but Jesus, frustrating to watch.
Man United going from 1 week to another, one game to another. We're getting a lot of praise for Harry Maguire in the middle of a back three and Lisandro Martinez and lots of other bits and pieces. Amad Diallo, Rangers legend, living his best life finally, in the Man United colours. And yeah, like this is their team for the weekend. I think Man United are a really good shout in the Premier League, but Bournemouth are no mugs, as we know. They've been very, very difficult to smash this season. They've been really tight, really compact, low scoring matches for the most part, and they've taken a lot of chances and made the most of them. Enes Unal, the hero of last week's deadline show, my kind of freeway coin toss I had, and he helped me to win a box last week, which was great. We finished 6th. I won a card actually, didn't I? I won that.
Yeah, I think you won a card. Yeah,
I won that
you
Lionheart. Thanks to that.
Yeah.
So great shout to you guys who voted for it in the chat. It was a banger of a free kick. And
unbelievable.
Yeah, this is like, I think Man United look good for this, but equally, man, like if Bournemouth won 1-0, I wouldn't be one bit surprised.
No, I mean, United played relatively full strength, I think, yesterday against Spurs, right? I don't know the exact lineup. I know like Bruno and that played.
They played Bayender in goals, and somebody
I
there was like
see that.
there was like 2 players. There was like Bayender and somebody else was like quite back uppy. I can't remember who it was now.
Yeah, because I saw the free the corner. You can see
The corner was wild, wasn't it?
what's going on there.
What a corner, but he hit the roof of the net with it.
Yeah,
like,
it was side netting. Like it was a really good corner, but you can't be getting
Anthony.
beat. Do you know what I mean? It was Anthony, was it? Yeah. I mean, it's only 2 players, so do you know what I mean? And one's the keeper, so it's fucking 1.5 players.
Enes Unal, loving it. But yeah, hopefully we see him get a start eventually.
Really tough to say this one.
It is. Hoyson on to start for sure. Harry boy, you going to use him?
Yeah, a 4-man effort.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes in. There's no low enough division. And then we've got Tottenham Liverpool, which is a EFL Cup semi-final preview. It's Tottenham throughout the semis, Liverpool throughout the semis, and I'm sure they're facing each other. Robertson apparently served his suspension in the cup midweek, which is definitely a new one on me for English football.
Yeah.
I definitely have caught this in the continent at times, but I didn't know England did this way. So there you go. Robbo's back. This is the Liverpool team on screen. I would say kind of full strength. Maybe you want Kanate there for Gomez, but otherwise, like, yeah, it's as good as it's getting.
Yeah, I thought obviously maybe he did the same, but was it McAllister was suspended last weekend potentially? There was some sort of McAllister suspension at some point. It must have been last weekend, but
Yeah.
the only question.
Who misses out between McAllister, Jones, and Soboslai? Yeah, so between these three, it's so they're all in the reckoning.
Yeah.
Gravenberch is nailed. And Tottenham, who are the entertainers, are you not entertained? Russell Crowe, sorry, Ange Postecoglou, at the end of the game. Aussies, what they like. Archie Gray continuing at centre back to get lots of praise and plaudits. Jed Spence looks to continue, but this time at right back after playing left back midweek. Yeah, so he's definitely going to be getting himself some fans this week if he can pull that kind of move off. And the rest of the team looks pretty good to go, full strength. So this will be an interesting one. Goals galore. Yeah.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? It's very hard to see Tottenham keeping a clean sheet here. And then
Yeah.
equally, yeah, you probably say the same for Liverpool. But I mean, it's hard to see past Liverpool, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it'll go. I think it's just going to be who does score more. It'll be one of those
More
ones.
action.
Tottenham came out swinging against Man United, like they really started, and they do that against so many teams where they will just go and score goals. Like they'll just do it. And last Liverpool team, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz are all on mad form. Diaz thinks he's going to get himself a move was it Barca or Real? I forget which one it was. But it's like, where did Barca think they're getting the money for shit like this? You know what I mean? I seen they were linked to Haaland today as well, Barca. And it's like, where are they getting the money? It's not got any, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's probably the game of the weekend in terms of their neutral viewing. And that's the Prem. Really difficult one to call. If you've got any sort of stack or any sort of composite team, it's anyone's game, isn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if there was not one clean sheet, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I know the Fulham one's probably least likely for that to happen, but really wouldn't shock me.